Hello, everyone. I am Daniela Garcia, and welcome again to another edition of Encora Talks. Today, we will be talking about mobile testing, a journey from concept to practice and trends. Ruta Chintower is our speaker for today. She has 8 years of experience in quality assurance and testing, currently a senior QA engineer at Encora. Her expertise ranges from manual testing to mobile application testing and API testing in different domains such as e-commerce, insurance, and healthcare. Hello, Ruta. We're thrilled to have you here today. Welcome to Ancora Talks.
Hey Danny, thank you so much. Yeah, okay, so let's start. Yeah, so hello all, welcome to the May edition of Encora Talks. And today's webinar topic is mobile testing, a journey from concept to practice and trends. So our today's agenda is, and we are going to cover these topics. So mobile application testing, types of mobile apps, types of mobile application testing, then challenges that we get when we perform mobile testing, then approaches, best practices, mobile testing trends. So now let's talk about what is mobile application testing. So this type of testing is a type of testing in which a developed mobile application is tested, and there are some areas which we focus, such as application quality, performance, compatibility, user experience, reliability, stability. So all these areas we consider when we talk about the mobile application testing. We also make sure that end users and technical requirements are getting fulfilled and they are getting expected as per the requirements. So we make sure all these things. Then we also make sure that functional and non-functional components are getting tested, and they are pretty much covered as a part of your test scenarios. So now question arises, why mobile testing is more important nowadays? So as we know, in current time, the usage of mobile phones is increasing day by day, and users downloads the application based on the ratings and reviews. So obviously, ratings and reviews, we get it from the working of the application. So if the working of the application is pretty good to users, then only they will download the application. So that is the adequate need nowadays, before that we need to test the mobile application testing before releasing to the market. Then we will talk about the types of mobile apps. So we have three types of mobile applications. One is the native, second one is web, and third one is the hybrid. So what is native apps? So native apps, it is built for specific OS, which is operating system, or it is built for specific device. So you can take the example of calculator, notepad. So here in native apps, what generally we have done, so it is the type of application which is built for specific single platform. So for example, if you try to use the calculator of iOS application on Android application, so it will not support because it is built only for the iOS. So this is the main drawback of the native application. So what benefits we have? So as it focus on the single focus, then because of this, it is quite faster in the performance and more reliable. And this is one of the important benefit that we have when we use the native applications. But as we have benefits, we also have some drawbacks. So one of the drawback is, this is built for specific OS, so we cannot reuse the same code to build the application, same application on other platforms. So that is the main drawback of this application. So if you want to develop the any other application on other platforms, you need to duplicate your efforts for each platform. So that is the one thing. Then when we need to install the application, when there is any update for particular application, so user need to download the file, and then user need to reinstall the application again. So that is also one of the drawback of this application. And when we talk about the building for multiple platforms, it is obviously costly, right? It will take the more costing to build such applications. Okay, now let's talk about the web applications. So what is web app? Web app are similar to native, but only major difference is they are accessed via web browser. So for example, if you're trying to access the web application, for example PWA, so PWA are the progressive web apps. So these are the web applications which looks like a native. So there is no need to download these applications using Play Store or App Store, same like as native applications, because these web applications runs on browser. So what you can do, you can just get the application, and you can open that particular application using the browser, and there is no need to download this application. So but we have another option, which is the bookmark. So we can use the bookmark feature to make the using of this application easier. So that feature is usable. Okay, then we have benefits of this web application. This is quite faster as compared to native applications. Then there is no singular focus on this. There is no need to develop your applications according to different platforms, different OS. So there is single code base we use here for web applications. Then when we talk about the drawback, so drawback is here is these applications accessed via web browser. So we always need internet connection to use these applications. So if we don't have internet connection, then these web applications will not support the offline environment. So this is one of the drawback that we have with web application. But one more benefit we have with this is, as I mentioned, there is no need to download the web applications. So web applications will never consume your device memory. So it will only be the accessed via web browser. So that is the main benefit when we talk about the web application. Then we have last one, which is hybrid application. So hybrid is the combination of native and web application. So we can take example of Facebook and LinkedIn. So this is the kind of application which is more beneficial than native app in terms of cost, because again it is using the single code base. There is no need to there is no need to deployment of code for single for multiple OS or multiple platforms. So that is the main benefit when we talk about the hybrid applications. Then these are the quite faster and more reliable in terms of cost, and this type of applications loads faster. So that there are some countries in which the internet connection is poor. So in that case, this type of applications can sustain very well, and they give the consistent behavior to each users. So that is the main benefit of this hybrid applications. So hybrid applications also have the homepage icon, then responsive designs, then it also have the ability to work offline. So that is why we always prefer the hybrid applications over native application. So this was about types of mobile application. Now let's talk about the types of testing. So when we say that mobile application testing, so it includes levels of testing. So we can start now. So first one is the functional testing. So the name itself indicating is the functional. So what we do, we focuses on the functioning of the app according to the requirements. So when we have requirements from client, so it is clearly mentioned that what are the basic requirements to fulfill the application. So we focuses on those requirements first, and we test the functionality of the application. Then we have second type of testing, which is usability testing. It helps to improve the customer experience. So we mostly talk about, like, when we use the application, we used to mention that this application is user friendly, this application is giving very bad user experience. So what exactly is the user experience means your application should be easily accessible, it should be easily manageable, and it should be easily understandable to every type of users. So that comes under usability. Then we have third type of testing, which is compatibility testing. So it checks the behavior across various of OS devices, applications, and network conditions. So we also talk about the compatibility. So when we mention about the mobile application testing, we make sure that the our application is compatible with all these parameters. Then we have fourth type of testing, which is performance testing. So in this, we check the performance, stability, responsiveness under certain workloads and circumstances. So we have almost five types of performance testing, which are the part of this type of testing. So first one is the load testing. So in which in load testing, we check the behavior of the application after giving a certain amount of extreme load, or we can say the normal load. So then we check the behavior of the application. Then we have stress testing, in which we check the stability of the application when we have a certain amount of stress to the application. Then we have third type, which is stability. So here we check that whether our application is working fine for a longer period when we have certain amount of load that we are providing to the application. Then we have fourth type, which is volume testing. So volume is we provide the large amount of data to the application, and then we check the behavior that whether it's working as expected or not. Then last type is the concurrency testing. So in concurrency testing, what we do, multiple users gets logged in at same time, and then we check the behavior of the application, whether it's working as expected, or whether it's getting crash or freeze. Like these scenarios we perform under performance testing. Then fifth level of testing is security testing. So here we check the behavior under various device permission requests and users personal data. And sixth one is interruption. So this is very interesting type of testing, in which we check the behavior in case of interruptions such as SMS call, internet disconnection, notifications. So here example could be the, so suppose you are using any your mobile application, and you there is incoming call to you, or there is incoming message to you. Then what will happen with your current screen, or we can say with your current application? Will get it freeze, or will get it crash? So all these kind of scenarios we should test when we perform the interruption testing. Then we have some more type of testing that we should perform when we talk about the mobile application testing. So first is the installation testing. So installation means here we check the behavior of the application while installing or uninstalling the application. So many times it will happen that your device is not your mobile application is not accepting the installation process or uninstallation process. It get freeze in meanwhile. So this could be the possibility when we perform this type of testing. Then we have localization testing. So localization testing focuses on the main type of testing, which is it it indicates the particular region's culture, then language, then we can see the cultural characteristics. So it focuses on that particular part. So for example, the Arabic culture. So Arabic culture uses the right to left writing. Then we have some countries like China, or the east side. Then these particular countries uses partial or fully logographic writing. So what we can do, we can use our input fields which are more likelihood like the particular regions specific. So we can use that particular UI into our application, which will give the same look and feel of that particular region. So it will be easy to use our application to the particular users who are accessing that in that region. So that is localization testing. Then we have internationalization testing. So it is completely opposite to localization, because internationalization itself indicating that our application should be accessible worldwide. So here we can use the content, then we can use the a UI, so which is adaptable to all multiple regions. So that is the one thing that we need to check when we perform this type of testing. So we can take example of Google search page logo. So this search page logo gets changing when we have the particular important date or any international holiday. So all these kind of occasions we have. So Google search page logo gets changed. So this type of scenarios we can perform or we can include when we talk about the internationalization. Then we have accessibility testing. So when we talk about the accessibility, so as we expect that every type of user should be able to access the our application. So along with the normal users, the users who has the physical or any cognitive disabilities, they should also be able to access our application. So to ensure this, we can include the type of scenarios like our application should have the good color contrast, then good amount of color coding, then we should have the user guidance messages, then we should have the tooltips, then we should have the voice search input, then we should have the screen reader, then multiple features like this we can include, and we can make sure that these are working as expected. Then we will talk about the memory leak testing. So most of the applications are built using the Java. So Java has inbuilt feature. What it will do, it will unallocate the unused memory. But there are some scenarios where your application's unused memory is not getting deallocated automatically. So in that case, the piling of unused data will start increasing, and then accordingly, you might face the screen freezing. You might face the screen application crashing. Such type of scenarios you might face. So, but this type of testing comes under white box testing. So it is not part of the black box. So what we can do, we can ask developers to include such type of testing as a part of unit testing. Then we have upgrade. So when we are upgrading the current installed version to upgraded to latest version, then we can check the behavior, and we can check the scenarios like the existing data of that application is getting retained or not, then whether logged in user is getting logged out or not when we upgrade the application, then whether our application is providing the backward compatibility or not. So these are the scenarios that we can consider when we talk about the upgrade. Then storage testing. So there are some applications which uses your hard disk to store the particular data, then retrieve the data from that hard disk, then delete from it there. So these are the some possibilities that particular application can perform. So we can taste that our application, how it is behaving when we have less storage on our device or we have no storage on our device. So these are the scenarios that can be the part of storage testing. Then exploratory. So exploratory itself giving the definition as we are testing our application on random basis. We are just testing the random feature or random functionalities, and we are trying to find the any discrepancy we have when we talk about this testing. Then input testing. So input testing is the like we test the finger gestures in this. Then we also test the voice inputs. So for example, we have some external noise, right? Then whether our voice input is getting detected or not, that we can check under input testing. Now, let's talk about the challenges. So, when we perform the mobile application testing, there are many challenges we face as a tester. So, first one is the too many devices globally. So, if you know, like in 2022, almost 1.2 billion smartphones were sold. So, if you see this count, you can imagine that how many varieties we have currently in the market for mobiles. So to cover all these ranges or all these varieties, it's not at all possible as a part of mobile testing. Then we have device fragmentation. So as we have variety of mobiles, we have variety of OS like Android OS, iOS, then Windows. So multiple OS platforms we have. Then all those OS versions will have their own versions like 5.1, 5.2. So all these version numbers we have for each OS. So to cover all these versions as a part of mobile testing is becoming a greatest challenge nowadays. Then we have different screen sizes. So when we have a different variety of mobile, then when we have different OS versions, then we also have the different screen sizes. So to cover all these type of parameters as a part of testing is becoming challenging when we talk about the mobile testing. Then we have numerous types of mobile testing. So we talked about the mobile application types, right? So native, hybrid, and web applications. So to ensure that whether your application is fulfilling all these type of applications, it is quite challenging. So that is the biggest challenge that we are facing. Then we have mobile network bandwidth. So we make sure that our application is giving, or we can say the is accessible to all type of networks, like whether it's Wi-Fi, whether it's cellular network. So all these networks should be manageable when we talk about the mobile testing. So if we have the less network, right, then there should be the possibility that the data communication is poor. So if we have data communication poor, then there could be the possibility that there is some lag between user and server. So this could not be the good way when we talk about the mobile testing. So this is also becoming the challenging, because we have various networks available. Then every user might have different type of network. So to cover all the scenarios, testing team need to make sure that we are checking all the scenarios, and we are checking the response time for each type of network. Then we have mercurial user expectations. So as we know that users are expecting high speed mobile applications nowadays. So along with this, they are also expecting the more type of screen sizes according to their usage, or they are expecting more variations in the mobile devices. So the more variations we have, the more type of devices we have to include as a part of testing. So this is also becoming the challenge nowadays. Then we have security concerns. So as you know, like when we talk about the mobile, so the mobile have less encryption. Then it also have the chances that it has poor cache. So these are the possibilities when we talk about the security concern. So it is very important to build our application more robust to the all the security vulnerabilities. So that is most important challenge that we are facing while performing the mobile testing. Then seamless user experience. So the success of any mobile application depends upon the user experience or customer experience they are facing. Then how the content is showing on the application, then how creative our application has been made. So all these comes under seamless experience. And to achieve this, the our testing team actually racing against time, because we have to cover all the scenarios, or we can say the deep level of testing to achieve this seamless user experience. Then we also have the strict deadlines. So deadlines means, for example, the as the variations of mobiles are increasing, right? So mobile companies are trying to satisfy or trying to fulfill the all the users requirements or their particular demands. So there so accordingly, what is happening, so the every time the bug fixes, then we have the patchworks, then we have upgrades. So we have the very strict deadlines according to the particular demand. So what is happening, so QA and developers are actually on their toes to meet our strict deadlines. Then we have heavy battery usage. So nowadays this is the biggest challenge, because the whatever applications we are getting nowadays, those are actually draining your battery. For example, you are using any application, and your battery is getting drained. So that is very bad experience to your application. So as a tester or as a developer, we should make sure that whatever application we are using, it's not draining the device's battery. So it is giving the good battery consumption. Then last challenge we are facing is too many app testing tool. So as we have seen many challenges, so there are some tools in the market which can reduce our challenges, or we can reduce our the efforts. But there is no such application in the market which satisfies all our requirements or all our challenges. So there we have to use many tools, or we have to get the subscriptions of many tools. So that could be the possibility, and to get all the subscriptions for any organization, it's not possible. So this is also one of the challenge that organizations are facing. Then we will talk about the solutions. So in last slide we have seen that we are facing many challenges. So there are some tools in the market which we can use to reduce the particular challenges or to reduce the human efforts. So there are some tools like Lambda test, browser stack, Functionize, testing bot, cross browser testing. So this type of testing tools we can use for compatibility testing, where we check the compatibility of the application. Then we have some tools like Xamarin, UI Test, then Espresso. So these are the type of tools that we can use to test the UI of your application. Then we also have some cloud-based mobile application where we can fulfill the challenges like device fragmentation, then many devices available in the market. So with the help of this type of tools like AWS Device Farm, Firebase Test Lab, then Xamarin Test Cloud, Cobiton, Perfecto, Source Labs. So these tools will definitely help us to test our application on different screen sizes, on different OS, on different platforms. So this could be the possible way if we want good test coverage. Then regression testing tool. So Selenium, Test Drive, Catalan, Test Sigma. So these are the some type of regression testing tool which we can use, and which we can through which we can reduce our effort, because these devices will help us to perform testing for the repetitive scenarios. So in this case, there will not be any need to perform the same type of scenarios again and again. So we can use these tools to reduce our efforts. Then we will talk about the approaches. So approaches is there are some approaches that we should take care of when we talk about the mobile application testing. So one is the outlining the process. So as soon as the development process start, what testers can do, tester can start defining the test cases. Like they can just think of the functionalities and they can think about the many scenarios and test cases that could be the possible option for our application. Then choosing test for manual and automation. So here what we will do, we will differentiate our test cases for the manual and for automated. So it will help us when we start executing our test cases. Then preparing test cases for different functionalities. So here two approaches we can follow. So one approach is the requirement based approach, in which we will test our application according to the requirements, and we will test the main functionality of the application. And second approach is the business team based approach, in which we will focus our application, or we will test our application according to the business perspective. So whatever the business requirements or business users requirements are there, so we will focus in this type of approach. Then performing manual testing, then performing automated testing. So all these approaches we can use when we have the different types of test cases, like when we have the differentiation for manual and automated. Then usability testing. So as I mentioned earlier, like usability, to give the best user experience, so one should include the usability testing. Then performance testing. So till now we have done the performance testing for features, but now here we can use the this type of testing to test the performance of entire application. So here we can check the speed, then stability of the application when we have huge amount of traffic into our application. So we can have the better performance check before releasing to the market. Then security testing. So when we talk about mobile testing, we have some security standards which need to follow. For example, we have PCI, DCS, PCI DSS. So this is one of the security standard which is used for the type of applications where the applications accept the payments. So this is the type of security standard that one should follow. Then we have HIPAA as a standard. So it is generally getting used for the type of applications where we have the medical data, so where we store or the process the medical data. So in such type of scenarios we use the HIPAA compliance. Then last one is the complete testing before final version release. So we have to ensure all these testing has been completed and all the levels of testing has been passed, and then only we are good to go for the final version release. Then what are the best practices that one should follow when we perform the mobile application testing? So we can select the right device to perform testing. So for example, when we have the specific requirements from client, so we can choose our devices according to the specific requirement. So that could be the best practice. Then if we start performing the testing at early stage, and if we define the test scope in detail, then through this we can have the less defects at later stage, and we can have the we can reduce the delay uh, to the market. So this could be the best practice, and one should implement it as a agile process. Then testing on real devices. So we have seen, like, we can perform the cloud-based mobile testing, then we can use the emulators, simulators, right, to reduce our efforts. But we cannot skip the real devices testing. So it is also equally important, because when we talk about the releasing our application into the market, and if we perform the testing on real devices, it gives very good confidence, and it gives the assurity that our application is working fine on real devices as well. Then we can adopt the performance and security testing. So yes, as I mentioned, performance testing is quite important. Testing is also important when we talk about the mobile testing. Then we can also check the battery consumption, and we can also test our application for global access. So to get the success to our application, so it is very important that our application is accessible globally, and it is getting handled, or it is getting easily usable for each region in our world. So that is more important practice that one should include. Then let's talk about the trends. So what are the new trends in the mobile application testing field? So first one is the adoption of cloud mobile testing for efficient testing. So cloud mobile application testing enables the QA and developers to test their application on wide variety of devices, and it also ensures that there is no need to purchase those devices and maintain those devices physically. So that is the important benefit when we talk about the cloud mobile testing. So this type of testing also ensures that the our QA is testing our particular application on wide variety of devices. So it also saves the time and cost at the same time. So this is more type of trend which is reliable nowadays, and organizations are going towards this trend. So this particular cloud mobile testings convenience, then cost effectiveness is making more attractive to many organizations to use as a daily practice. Then we have AI ML driven testing, which is specifically used for cost reduction. So nowadays, artificial intelligence, then data science are the latest technologies which uses the predictive model to test the different features of the application, and to we can say to identify the more accurate testing plans. So this type of testing generally reduces the, or we can say the optimizes the app performance. Then it also helps to identify and fixes the performance and functional issues. Then it also gives the improves the user and customer experience. So nowadays, like in 2023, data science will be the popular technology which will help to reduce and analyze the large data sets, and it will give the a good area of improvement when we implement this type of particular testing as a part of mobile testing. Then when we talk about the recession, for example, the we have shortage of resources, we have some budget constraint, but we have the complex systems as well at the same time. So we can take help of this AI/ML, and we can test our complex applications, and we can manage our data very well by using such type of trend to reduce the cost. Then we have scriptless automation. So this type of trend is mostly getting used nowadays because it is reducing human involvement. So what exactly happens in this? So for example, you are going through the application, and this tool, what this tool will do, this tool will record all your user flows, and it will convert into scripts automatically. So there is no need to write down the scripts manually. So this is the best, we can say, the tool that is getting used to reduce the human involvement, and to reduce the scripting. Then we have security testing to reduce the cyber attacks. Then we have continuous integration, continuous delivery for increased mobile applications, to increase the quality of mobile application. Then we have shift left testing. So shift left testing means what we do, we just introduce the testing phase at early stage. Means, for example, development is going on, and we include the testing at the same time. So it will give us the better quality, because we will be able to focus on the problems at early stage, and it will also reduce the time to the market. It will reduce our delay if we get the bugs at production level. But if we include this type of trend, then we can identify the problems at earlier stage, and we can definitely reduce the time to the market. Then we have mobile app quality as a marketing tool. So as I mentioned, like, mobile app quality is nowadays very important factor when we talk about the ratings and reviews. So app quality should be the best at all time to get more success for any tool. Then we have 5G testing, accessibility testing. Then we also have the geolocation testing, which enhance the app performance worldwide. So these are the best trends that one can follow while performing the mobile testing. Then these are some effective tips, or we can say the some quick recap that whatever we have seen till now. So we can use the test automation to increase efficiency. We can commit our efforts towards performance load testing. We will not just rely on the automation testing, as some part of testing requires manual effort. Then we will test our applications on multiple devices. Then we will never skip the security testing. Then we need to keep eye on memory leakage and increase in the cache volume. Then we need to keep also an eye on proper functioning of updates, including the OS versions. Then how our application is behaving for external interruptions. Then power consumption can be tested. Then we are making sure that our application is supporting all screen sizes, touch interfaces. Then also localization, internationalization testing. So all these are effective tips that one should follow while performing the mobile testing. Yeah. Thanks all for joining this session.
Thank you so much, Ruta, for all this valuable information you just have shared with us. Now it's time to start with our Q&A section. So we have received some questions, and the first one that I have for you is, how do you test the offline functionality of a mobile app?
Okay, so when we talk about the offline functionality, so there are two scenarios. So there are some applications in the market which will support the offline environment, and there are some applications which will not support the offline environment. So if we want to test the application which supports the offline, then what we need to do, we just need to disconnect our application from the Wi-Fi or cellular network, or we can just put on our device to airplane mode. So in that case, we can stimulate the offline environment, and then we can test the features like whether we are able to add new data, whether we are able to update the existing data, so how it is behaving, right? So that we can check. And when we again reconnect to the network, then whatever changes we have done in offline environment, whether those are reflecting as expected or not, so that we can check as a offline environment. And when there are applications which does not support the offline environment. In that case, our application should display should display the user-friendly error messages through which user can identify that that network is not available and I need to switch on to the network to get the application in functionality. So that is the answer to your question.
Thank you a lot, Ruta. The second question I have is, how do you ensure test coverage across different devices, platforms, and configurations?
Okay, so yeah, we have seen the best practices in earlier slide, right? So best practices includes like we should use the device fragmentation, like we should use the multiple devices. Then we should be able to prioritize the our devices like according to the popularity, according to the user base, according to the we can say the requirements from business team. So all these we can do. Then we can also include the manual testing, automation testing. Then we can use the emulators, simulators to reduce our efforts. Then we should include the real device testing. So all these scenarios which are the combination of best practices, and if we include these best practices, then I think we can have the good test coverage.
Okay, thank you again. The third one and the last one, mention what are the common bugs found while mobile testing?
Oh, that is interesting question. Yeah. So when we talk about the testing and when we perform testing on mobile devices, so there are also interesting bugs we find. So the common bugs we get are like the crashing of mobile devices, then the freezing of the mobile applications. Then we have some synchronization issues. We have missing or incorrect data. Then we have UI or layout issues. So all these of kind of common bugs we get, and most important is this type of bugs get varies according to the user base, according to the platform, and according to the type of application. So it's not necessary that we will get all these type of bugs every time. So as I mentioned, it will get varied according to the type of application. Yeah.
Okay, Ruta, thank you a lot for all the information you shared with us, for all that you explained here. And thank you everyone for joining us today. Please keep an eye out for more webinars that we will be hosting soon. We also invite you to watch the recorded webinars we have posted on talks.incora.com. Thank you again.
Thank you.